program called Tread Lightly. This program is designed to educate and inform forest users on how to enjoy their off-highway vehicle without damaging resources or negatively affecting others' enjoyment of public lands. Perhaps your greatest pleasure is climbing aboard your all-terrain cycle for a hunting trip. Maybe your pickup is the ideal machine for reaching firewood in a remote spot. For some people, a steep climb that tests their vehicle and their driving skills is very challenging. Others find excitement and winter grandeur with their snowmobiles. And there are those who enjoy a Sunday drive in the hills. But wait a minute. Before you head out, let's review some of the basics that ensure that you not only have a safe trip, but also protect the land. As the driver of your recreation vehicle, you're responsible for obeying rules and regulations for the safety of yourself, your passengers, and others. Are you and your vehicle properly licensed? A responsible driver follows state laws. Is your vehicle allowed on public roads? Many four-wheel, all-terrain vehicles are not. Do you know your vehicle's limitations? Do you know how to operate it correctly? Are you equipped with repair and emergency gear? Do you wear the proper protective clothing? Are young drivers properly supervised? Good places to obtain this kind of information are from your state parks and recreation department, the state motor vehicle department, and recreation vehicle dealers, associations, and clubs. Ask them. They'll be glad to help you. Now that you've checked out your vehicle for safety, how can you protect the land? Your responsibility is to tread lightly. Tread lightly means you operate your vehicle in a manner that won't damage soil, plants, roads, or trails, and won't frighten wildlife or livestock. It also means extending courtesy to other forest users. The Tread Lightly program offers you a challenge that will truly test your riding skills. This challenge is written in a pledge. T means you'll travel, only where your vehicles are permitted. R stands for respecting the rights of hikers, skiers, campers, and others so that they can enjoy their fun. E is for educating yourself on areas you plan to visit. A means you'll avoid wildlife, livestock, meadows, streams, lake shores, muddy roads, and trails. And D commits us to drive responsibly, to avoid accidents and damage to the land. To ensure that we're treading lightly and that we understand each of these statements, let's look at each one separately. T means that you'll travel only where your vehicles are permitted. Double check to see if the trail or road you plan to use is open, whether vehicles are allowed all year, part of the year, closed year-long, or open for only certain types of vehicles. An area may be closed for several reasons. One may be habitat for threatened species of wildlife, such as the grizzly bear. In the spring, areas may be closed to prevent disturbances to bighorn sheep calving grounds or other places where wildlife rear their young. Also, wildlife wintering areas may be closed to prevent disturbing hungry wildlife. These places are reopened to travelers when the critical period passes. Roads and trails that are soft and muddy from melting snow may be closed in the spring and the fall to prevent rutting. When winter sets in, however, the area may open for snowmobiles, but not for wheeled vehicles. Wilderness areas are closed year-round to all motorized and mechanized vehicles. Familiarize yourself with where the wilderness boundaries are. In the case of trails outside wilderness areas, they may be open to some off-highway vehicles. Many four-wheelers are too wide for the trails. Can you imagine what a full-sized four-wheeler would do to a trail and the surrounding vegetation? Vehicle width must be no more than 40 inches wide to be on national forest trails. The numerous reasons for some modes of travel to be restricted within public lands are not well understood when encountered unexpectedly. With the use of Tread Lightly posters, the Forest Service is trying to do a better job of explaining to you the reasons for restrictions or closures. We want you to know. The R in the pledge stands for respecting the rights of hikers, skiers, campers, and other users so they too can enjoy their recreational activity. Most campers don't enjoy the noise of cycles and ATVs within their campground. Check the regulations. In and around many campgrounds, it's not permitted for cycles and ATVs to be ridden. And say thanks to those who yield to you on the trail. You'll win friends and acceptance. The E is for education. Become informed. When visiting a national forest, stop at the district office. Ask for a map. The map will show you roads and trails throughout the forest. Also, pick up the brochure with Tread Lightly travel suggestions and state addresses. If you're traveling on public lands that are managed by other agencies, go to that appropriate agency for help. Ask questions concerning rules you may not understand or about current travel conditions. Respect private property. Always ask the owner's permission to cross through their land. Follow the owner's instructions carefully. If you don't, more private land could be closed. A means you'll avoid wildlife, livestock, meadows, streams, lake shores, muddy roads, and trails. Vegetation is one of nature's methods of reducing erosion by increasing stability of the soil. If an ATV or off-highway vehicle destroys plant cover, the soil can be eroded by wind or rain. The results are ugly scars. Churning wheels can cut a muddy road or trail to pieces, particularly during popular hunting seasons or in early spring. Keep in mind, the wetter the soil, the easier it is to tear up. The same thing happens to wet meadows and swamps. It may be fun to throw mud around, but the wound to the land takes years to heal. Postpone travel on snowy and wet roads and trails until they dry out. Where old roads or trails are no longer needed, the land is restored to natural conditions. Driving on these old roads and trail sites destroys the new plants and starts erosion all over again. Snowmobiles may seem harmless, but depending on where and how they're driven, this is not always true. They can frighten wildlife. In winter, food is scarce, and animals are living on stored energy. Chasing or driving too close to wildlife forces them to run and burn up that scarce energy. The results are disastrous for the animals. Also, there's possible damage to young trees and other tender plants during the winter. If the snow is not deep enough, then tops are broken, growth is slowed, and the trees are deformed. Not a good prospect for a future forest. The D in the pledge commits us to drive responsibly, to avoid accidents and damage to the land. Some people find it hard to obey rules, so they tear down gates and signs and drive around barriers. Repairs are costly. As a result, future visitors find tougher restrictions. Honor gates, barriers, and posted signs restricting travel. If you see vandals at work, get their license number and descriptions and report them to the nearest Forest Service or local sheriff's office. By operating an off-highway vehicle on public and private lands, one must take the responsibility to use them with respect and care for the environment. Take the Tread Lightly pledge, and let's work together to protect the land. Plants, animals, soil, and water will all be better off.
I'm sorry to interrupt your tape, but guess who we got? We got Smokey with us today. And Smokey has something with him for me, I think. Let's see. Oh, my God, here it is. Scott W. Skelton and Jerry Lynn Skelton, $50. $50. Thank you. Thank you, Smokey. Nice meeting you. Don't smoke now. We have some other... Listen, you guys out there, this beautiful...